Hey team, I wanted to share with you guys today something really important. It's something that they don't teach us when we're studying. It's something that most of us have to learn ourselves. It's something that maybe we kind of learn if we work for an agency, but that's communication, because communication is super key if you want to be a successful designer. And if you are a freelancer now and you eventually want to have a business, you want to have a small studio, or if you're a studio and you want to raise your prices and get more, paid better for what you're doing, communication's key. So what I thought I would share with you guys today is three tenets of really good communication. So you can think about this when you're in front of a client next time. These are three things you want to be thinking about communicating with the client, both verbally and non-verbally. And it's going to really help you go a long way. It's going to help you to raise your prices, be more confident with clients, and just help your clients understand a lot more and a lot better why they should want to work with you. With that in mind, let me just switch over my camera. So there's a lot to consider when you're thinking about communication. But these are three key things that I want you guys to think about when you're next in front of a client. So the first type of, I'm just going to put these in green. So the first thing you want to be thinking about communicating with a client is something that a lot of us probably do this already without trying, but if you're not, this is important. That is some empathy. Okay, what that means is you need to understand the client. You need to understand their emotional motivations. What that means is you need to understand and actually empathize with them for their situation, because the more you can understand the client's situation, the easier it's going to be for you to craft a solution that's going to work for them, and more, maybe just as important, but not more importantly, the easier it's going to be for you to pitch ideas and get their buy-in. So you really want to be thinking, how can I empathize with my client? And I'm talking about on an emotional level, because what you're doing for your client might save their business. It might help them grow their business. So you need to really understand them. What are their motivations? What are their personal motivations for wanting to work with you? Now, their motivations might be they're stressed and they're not getting enough work. Their motivations might be that they've been in business for so long and they've lost confidence in their brand. They've lost confidence in their business. So it's really important for you to think about, how can I empathize with my clients? See, empathy is, to put it really simply, is seeing things from another person's point of view, actually seeing someone and putting yourself in their shoes, understanding them, because the better you can understand your clients and the better you can communicate that you do have empathy for their situation, the more they're going to buy into you and the more they're going to trust you. So if you can empathize with your client and understand them as an individual, that is super important. Because the last thing the clients want is just to feel like another number or another business or another job. You need to make them feel super special, and one of the ways you can do that is by showing empathy, putting yourself in their shoes and imagining what it would be like to be them in their situation. Because once you've got that, then you can go, okay, so what's a solution that's really going to help them? So that's the first thing you want to be communicating. You want to be communicating empathy with your clients. The second thing is professionalism. Because, and this is something that comes with time, and this is something that you need to work on, but you need to be really kind of putting out to your clients that you're experienced and that you have a process. See, a lot of business owners you meet with aren't going to be creatives, or they aren't going to understand creativity, and they aren't going to understand what we do. So it's up to you to show them, hey, even though I'm a creative, I have a process too. I'm a professional. Here's how things are going to roll out for us. So if you can communicate to them that you've been there, you've done that, and you have a process for what you're doing, that's going to make the client feel a lot more confident to want to work with you. So show them that you've got a process, and show them that you're an authority. That's another one. Because the last thing you want happening in an interview with a potential client is for that client to feel like they can walk all over you. Now, not all clients are going to do this, and you're going to come across some clients who might try and do it. They may not be clients you want to work with, okay? But best practice is you need to show authority with your clients. You need to be assertive with them and say, look, I'm in control of this situation, all right? I know the best solution for you. I've been doing this for 5 years, for 10 years. I've worked with businesses just like yours, and I've created amazing outcomes for my clients. So I don't want to be put in a situation where I feel like I'm at the mercy of you, or this whole interview situation, this whole call, this whole discovery session is going to be dictated by you. Because if you let that client have the reins, and if you let that client feel like they can push you around and they're calling the shots and they're asking the questions, what that inevitably leads to is you feeling like you've got a pitch at the end of that call, or you feeling like you have to sell. Because if the client feels like they're in control, they will control the situation. And if the client feels like they're in control of the situation, then we automatically feel defensive and we go, shit, now I've got to try and sell something. I've got to plead my case, if you will. So you really need to be thinking, how can I show authority when I'm in front of a client? That might be as simple, which is what we tell all our clients to do, is setting an agenda right at the start. Here's how this thing's going to go. Here's how it's going to roll out. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do, and I really want to find out if we can find a solution or if there's even a need for what I can do for you. So being on authority and being assertive is super important, and it's something that we have to really learn. It's something I had to learn myself because, you can often think that the client's doing you a favor by paying you money, or you're on the back foot because you're asking them for money. But really, you need to switch your thinking and really understand that what you're creating for your clients is really actually going to create amazing outcomes for them. It's got a tangible value and it's going to create value for their business. So thinking that way means that you can be more assertive and you can stand up taller and go, hey, look, I'm going to actually do some sweet stuff for your business, okay? You're going to pay me, but that's totally fair. And guess what? You're going to pay me more because I know that I've created this outcome for past clients, this outcome for another client, this outcome for another client. I hope that's making sense. I hope that's resonating with you guys. If that's resonating, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But really, professionalism is another thing you really want to be communicating with clients, because if you can show them that you're a professional, you're an authority at what you do, and you're assertive, then they'll feel more confident spending money with you. Because look, here's the cold hard truth, guys. If you're selling a logo for $500, the client's going to see that as a logo for $500. But if you want to sell them a brand toolkit that's like 3K, 4K, 5K, whatever it might be, or something to that value, you need to position yourself as someone who can sell that. You need to position yourself as an authority in your field and someone who's been there and done that before. Part of that is being professional, showing you've got a process, taking control of that interview situation, and really understanding that you're going to create amazing value for that client. I guess it's easy to sell something cheap, but if you want to raise your prices, really, there's ways you can do that, and this is one of them, because you can wait until you're an established designer, you've got an agency or whatever, or you've got a studio that's been going for 10 years, and you can set the prices because you've been around for so long. But if you want to start thinking about doing that now, you really got to think about, how can I be more professional? How can I communicate to the client that I'm professional, I've got a process, and I know what I'm doing. So that's number one. And number two, the last one is you need to communicate to them, and this is kind of going on what we last said, that you've got knowledge and experience. Now, you may not have a lot of experience. You may have done 1 or 2 jobs. You may have just come out of an agency with a pretty small portfolio because you can't show the work you did in the agency. And that's a challenge for all of us. Well, it's a challenge for you if you're in that situation, right? But really, you need to be communicating that you understand what you're doing. And the thing is, people get really hung up on having to sell based on their portfolio. People get hung up on this kind of show and tell selling. Because what they used to do in the old days is salespeople would turn up to businesses and they'd have a whole lot of brochures and they'd show them all the different options, and they'd say, here's what I've done here, here's what I've done here, here's what I've done here. And the client would get them overwhelmed. Really, a portfolio is really important for you, but if you don't have one, you need to be thinking about what are some other ways that I can show that I'm knowledgeable? What are some other ways that I can show that I understand the client's business and I can create results for them? You can talk about things like other stats around design. This is just one of the ways. About design standards, psychology. See, you're not trying to sell them anything. You're just trying to show them and communicate to the client that you understand your craft and you know what you're doing. But if you want to show, and you do have a lot of past clients, it's really important to collect case studies. Case studies are gold for any sort of sales interview situation. This is when you can say, hey, we work with a business like yours. This was their key challenge, and here's the outcome we created. But guess what? That outcome created this amazing result for this business. So you need to be thinking, how can I communicate to the client that I'm experienced and I have knowledge in my field and I know what I'm doing? So I hope that was useful, you guys. So these are just 3 things. There's a whole raft of them, but I just think these are really, really important for you to consider. How can I empathize with the client more? How can I make them feel like they're an individual? And my only focus is them right now. I've got loads of other clients, but you don't want them to feel like just another job, just another project. You want to make them feel like you know what it's like to be in their shoes. And you've seen it before because you work with other clients like them. You need to be showing professionalism, that you're assertive, that you are an authority in what you do, and you've got a process behind it, because when you do that, it gives the clients confidence to spend more money with you. If you can show them that you've got a process, that you've done it before, that you understand what it's like to be in their shoes, that you understand businesses like theirs, that's going to go a long way for you to be able to raise your prices and to get more clients across the line easily, because the last thing you want to be doing is being meek and feeling like the client has all the power, and that's when you get into a situation where you're talking budget and scaling back offers and not giving them a great result. And the last thing is just communicating that you've got knowledge and experience in what you're doing. You've been doing this for a while. Maybe you don't have a massive portfolio. If you do, that's amazing, but if you don't, think about how are some other ways I could communicate that I understand them. It might be stats, it might be industry case studies, whatever it might be. Just think about this. Communication is key, and communication is one of the biggest things that you should be thinking about working on outside of any technical stuff, any creative work you're doing, any personal development stuff you're doing. Communication is key, because if you can communicate better with your clients, they'll see your point of view. They'll understand that you know what you're talking about, and understand why they want to work with you. So I hope that was useful, guys. There's a lot more to unpack. I just wanted to give you guys a couple of ideas to think about. If that was insightful, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought. But other than that, peace out. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.